Hey there, and welcome to Tabletop Game Publishing, the Success Formula, your weekly hangout where we break down what it really takes to design, develop, and publish your board game. So if you're aiming to turn your game idea into a published success, this is Tabletop Game Publishing, the Success Formula podcast.
So we are here again with Hirsch on this podcast called Tabletop Game Publishing, the Success Formula, a show where we share recommendations to have your game to get your games on the tabletop gamers everywhere. I'm joined by Hirsch, founder and CEO of Hero Time, one of the leading board game manufacturing companies in the world. And today we will talk about the things that you need to include in your request when you ask your board game manufacturing components, and what do you need to add there to have the best quote possible. Hi, Hirsch.
Hey Pablo, how are you?
Let's do this. I have already tested my game and I already defined a few components. So now it's time to get in contact with the manufacturer. So I get into your website, www.herotime1.com, and I get a form there, right? Like
Yes.
where I can drop my information. So what do you need there? What's the best that I need to add there for you to have to create the best quote for me?
That's a very good question, and we did actually recently write an article about it. Um, it's what to include in your board game manufacturing quote request. And the reason why we decided to write this article is because, like, on average, we get around 100, a little over 100 people that reach out to us on a monthly basis regarding their game. And out of this 100, I would say we will only have like 20 people, maybe in a good case scenario, that send us enough details that we can actually work with. So obviously, you can always start a conversation with saying, "Hi, I have a game," and then we can reach back to you or whatever it is, right? And we can have a long communication about what you need. Or if you want to work in a more professional way, similar to, I'd say, like serial small publishers or large publishers, then sending very clear details as to your quote, what it includes, the components is very important. And I think, like, I would like today to go over the things you would like to include in your quote,
Okay.
or the things you want to include in your quote, like you were saying, Pablo, in order to get a very good and accurate manufacturing quote with like proper suggestions and places for improvement. So the first and foremost, yeah, is your component list, right? What components do you need to have it? Do you want to have in your game? So obviously you'll have like a box, and within a box you can choose a tuck box if it's cards, or a two-piece box, or a magnetic box, or whatever it is, right? But you will choose a box, and after and then within the box you will have different components. So you might have like cards, token sheets, foldable game boards, individual player boards. Rule books are very common. You might have wood components, dice, even miniatures, and all these other stuff that you would want. Yes. So we actually did make this prototype, like a sample
All
kit,
the things that you need to have,
all the
like
things that you need to have in
bags
game.
and
Exactly.
cars and cardboard and etc.
Player
Yeah,
boards,
like you said.
foldable game boards. Yeah. So we actually did make that sample kit, specifically for people who want to understand the quality of materials and what they're actually going to get, right? So we did not make like a over overpowered, like top quality components and printing, like stuff that are not actually used during
Yeah,
the
like
production.
this is what we can do. This is top quality. No, no,
Yeah.
you just made something like this is
Exactly.
what you will ask. Okay, it
Yeah.
was just so let's continue
But it's a
with
good
the
point. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, you will have a list of your components that you want to have for your game. Now, for each component, you also want to have the quantity of the said component, right? So if you want dice, how many dice, right? Like what colors they are. You can also mention that, but like how many dice do you have? How many player boards do you want to have in your game? How many cards do you want to have in your game? So the quantity of the component is very important, and the stage after that will be the size. What size do you want it to be?
Right.
Now, the size is very, very important. People don't necessarily think about it much, but like especially for lower quantities, under 2,000, 3,000 sets, you want to have standard. You want to have like standard sizes. You want because we use standard sheets to print, and then if your size is a little too big or a little too small, then you will be wasting a lot of paper. And then your costs just go up. So you do want to like mention your sizes clearly, so you can get suggestions from your manufacturer of what they can actually do, in order to
One
improve
of
the
the biggest,
prices and the components.
one of the most known example is the cars, right? Like you need to be aware of how many cars on that size it can hold in that sheet for two reasons, not just for cost wise. Like okay, the sheet can hold 70 cars, so if you order 75, it will be more than one sheet. It's going to be one sheet and a half or two sheets, whatever. But also, on the other side. Is like I have 60 cars, and you as a producer can tell designer, you know that you can do up to 70 cars for free, those extra. Yeah,
Exactly.
great.
So
Because
exactly.
I have
So
my time.
so like the sheet we use for cards is usually 540 on 760 millimeters.
Okay.
So that sheet, for example, in poker size, like 63 and 88 millimeter cards, can fit 65 cards, right? And if you do like
Uh,
bridge size cards, it can fit like 59. If you're doing like mini cards, it can fit 80, right? So you do want to know that number in order to figure out what is the right combination for you. If you have a little too many cards, and so you maybe cut short a little bit, right? Reduce the number in order to fit in that one sheet and save costs. So yeah, the quantity, your ideal quantity or at least quantity range of cards, and then their size of all the components is like mandatory, right? Like these three fields are crucial. Now, aside from these fields, we also have the materials. If you don't share your materials, at least for us, we use our default materials. Now, the default materials we chose are the perfect balance between like quality and price, right? So like if you have a small box, by default, we will quote a thinner cardboard because you don't need such a massive like uh like thick cardboard for it. Like if you have a big box, there will be some constructions that we or some materials we will choose for you, a little thicker, a little more durable. For cards as well, we usually aim at like 350 high quality white core paper. But then some game designers, if they want to lower costs or they used to other materials, they can say like, "Oh, I want the 300 GSM paper," or "Hey, I want black core paper," right? So you can make
Yeah, or
these
maybe
requests.
I just give an example. Maybe you are doing a simple trivia game that the quality should not be test on cars. You are not looking this heavy games, what you can hold a lot of art and everything. Just a trivia game. So I need the cheapest paper. It's doable, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can. We actually also in all of our materials, we also have two separate qualities. One is like what we call the AAA quality for paper or the high density cardboard material, which is really really high quality. But if you like you have mass scale, like you print over 5,000 units, and then you say like, oh, I don't need such high quality, right? I can lower the quality. I'm selling to like families, not necessarily within the game industry
Yeah,
hobby
it's
market.
a party game. It's a
Yeah, it's a
party
party
game.
game, mass market
It's an
game, selling to
Amazon
them.
cheap car game and
Yeah.
whatever.
So in
Well,
the
printing.
printing, we have multiple printing technologies, right? So you will have the standard CMYK printing, right? So we have this massive offset machine, and then it has like it's divided into bodies, and then each body applies a different color out of the four. So we have CMYK, and then each of these sections of the machine applies with a stamp the color. So some people would want to have, if their color is very challenging, they would probably opt for getting a Pantone color instead of just a regular CMYK. So there will be like CMYK plus Pantone.
Okay.
Then they can also have hollow foil printing, right? So sometimes people want a card to be hollow foil, so that uses a different printing machine completely. So they can also ask, hey, I want these few cards to be hollow foil. So if you know what you're doing, you can also ask, this is what I want. And then after printing, we have another section of coating. Coating is extremely important. Like you were mentioning, you have like the oil varnish, you have poker oil, you have lamination, matte lamination, glossy lamination. And then for the finishing, you have all these add-ons. Oh, I want a UV spot. I want my foil stamp, where you stamp the foil, the gold foil or silver foil on the
Perfect.
box or whatever. Um, you will have a linen finish, all these different finishes that you might want to add to your component. And this is a section where you can add additional notes, not a note per se, but it's more like, let's say you're bored, right? You have a foldable game board. How many folds do you want to have? Do you want to
Okay.
have two folds, four folds, six fold, eight fold? You want it to be like a jigsaw puzzle style? Do you want finger slots in your box? You have all these nuanced constructions for each component that, like, we created a separate field just to make sure that we get it right. So you can have, like, you can list your constructions within that uh, product line that you're looking for. And finally, you have notes. Notes is like, how, if you want it to be bagged in a certain way, do you want it to just keep us a note what's important for you? You can mention like, oh, color for this component is extremely important, so make sure it's like very, very good, right? So
Yeah, or maybe like I have four meeples and I want one in red, one in yellow, one in green, like
yes,
that kind of information, right?
that can also
Okay,
be in the
so
printing, but yeah.
let's recap a little bit. So recap. You need to have a spreadsheet with the name of the component, amount of components for each game, the size, the material, if you know about it, the printing, if what kind of printing do you need in there? Full color, one color, whatever. The coating, if you need to laminate or you want oil varnish or well, whatever you want there. And it's really nice that you also mentioned that it will be cool if you add a note about specific things that you may want to add as an add-on or you
Yes,
want to specify. So
yes.
sending that line by line of each component, it will be great for quote, right?
Correct. And you can also go to the website and download, or you can even download the template of how to fill up a quote,
Okay.
because that will really make things easier, both for you to understand as well as for the factory to
And I have
figure out
another question.
what you need. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of stuff, like some designers may not even know what you're talking about. Like
Mm.
what is cardboard, what is high density. So what what do you do as a company? What do you do as a manufacturer to show to the people what do you have available for them to
But usually, like we made enough games to know what is good material, what is good processes for each game. So, like, I know a lot of people don't, it's their baby, so they're very skeptical of it, or they want to understand every detail. But you can also like ask for advice and ask like, okay, what do you think I should do, right? And then we can explain. Another thing that I think is most important, or not most important, but super helpful. You're a game designer. You played games before. Look at the games you bought and you like, and notice what they
what
have. So I think in that sense, that's how we do help with a quote. Another thing that I wanted to mention though for the quotes, and this is also super important, like how many games are you planning to print, right? And I'm not saying it's not in a degrading manner of any sort, but it's just like a realistic approach. I've had a few publishers that reach out and say like, "Yeah, I'm going to print like 20,000," and their Kickstarter is first time Kickstarter, and but they believe that they can do 20,000 games, 30,000 games. I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they cannot, but I'm saying
Yeah,
like
you need to
an
do a lot of stuff before to get
before
that.
that. Yeah, and they
So,
don't have a
uh,
website, they don't have anything.
if it's a 20,000 game, believe me, everyone is going to be aware of your game if you're
Yeah,
doing the things right. Like, I know there was a launch for a first time designer about a week ago, but it was based on a license from a software game. So, yeah, he reached 12,000 already in 2 days, where everyone knows that they're going to hit. But because they have over 10 years of license on the back of that game, it's not just a first timer. First
correct,
timer, like, oh, I'm gonna do my Kickstarter. Well, if you get 1,000, you're genius. If you get 2,000, 3,000, is that you did everything right. Like you invest a lot of work on the pre-campaign for your game.
correct.
If you get
So
to 20,000, well, you're a magician.
yeah, it's also, but
Superstar.
it, yeah, exactly. And but people, that's why people like need to be realistic, especially when we come to the crowdfunding scene. So, I mean, if you have 5,000 subscribers to your Kickstarter, well, that's amazing. You know, you'll have like at least like 1,000, 2,000 backers. That's awesome. But if you come up with like massive quantities without like the actual work that needs to go into it. Like yeah, so I think just need to be more realistic because it also gives the manufacturer us at least an idea of what we're dealing with and what kind of recommendations to make. Another important thing that you want to mention is how do you want to publish your game? Because you might do a crowdfunding campaign, or you might be able to do, or you might want to do an Amazon selling or Shopify selling, or selling your product in like not at conventions even, but like trade shows, Amazon e-commerce, and all of these platforms where your game requires like different specialties, right? So in the Kickstarter, it's all about how to make my game a wow. In the e-commerce theme, it's all about, okay, how do I make a business out of it, right? How do I generate the most profit from my sales, from my production? How do I manage it all? So it's two different approaches, and the manufacturer does I don't know if all manufacturers do it, but at least for us, it's important that we know what to expect in that sense. Then I would say another extremely important, and we're covering topics that are not in the quote itself, but artwork. Artwork is extremely important and challenging. So many game publishers, especially one-timers or first-time publishers, they never made artwork for print. So they might use like I know and I hate it, but like Adobe Illustrator is the software out there. No matter how much we all hate Adobe, but this is the standard for printing. So all these one-timer first-time publishers, they will go in and use Figma, which Adobe bought and ruined. They would use all these other like open source softwares that
Canva.
Canva. Oh, Canva is a great one, yeah, or PowerPoint, and anyways, you know what I mean. Like you need to like artwork is so challenging as a section for the games. You really want to make sure your artwork is good before you go before like if you send your quote together with like a few samples of your artwork files, that will give the manufacturer like an overview of exactly what you need. So if your files need more help with setting up, so the manufacturer can prepare for it and even include it for you in the quote, so you understand how much like it adds. If or if you need like your colors are complex and you need like Pantone colors, then the manufacturer knows to add this section of Pantone. That's why artwork is extremely important. If you can send that together with your like quote request, that's
Yeah.
that's gonna be golden.
Cool.
Um, I think, yeah. Also, like another, if I may, Pablo. So aside of the quantities that you want, if you can think of a budget for your game, and I mean from a business perspective, you need to analyze how much you can sell your game for. And I think we covered it before. It's not always the 5x rule or 6x rule or whatever, right? You need to analyze what are people willing to pay for your game and then work backwards and then make sure that your game, meets your goals. So you might want to do 10x, right? from your MSRP.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to you, but you want to know what makes sense for you and make like plans towards it. So then you come to the manufacturer and you say, "This is my game. I want it for $3, or I would like to have it between 2 and 4, or like the lower the better, right?" And then the
Yeah.
manufacturer can give you the recommendations in order to help you get the target price that you would like.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Last one,
Well,
two
okay.
more. Another one is your timeline. When are you planning to manufacture your game, right? And like when do you want to? And the question is also working backwards. When do you want to deliver your game? And then work, okay, 60 days before for shipping. I take 60 days for shipping. Then I take whatever the manufacturer needs. It's like, at least for us, it's 30, 35 days. Maybe for other manufacturers, it's going to be like 60 days. Or if your game is extremely complex and has molds, it might be
If you
90
need to
days.
outsource a lot, it might take even larger. Or if you have molds and everything included, then that might take
So
a lot.
So you want to know, like, okay, you tell your manufacturer, I want to deliver my games to my customers before Christmas. Okay, and then we work backwards and we tell you when do you need to start, and then you can have like a proper project in place where you say, okay, today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that, to reach my goal of delivering before Christmas. Um, and I think, yeah, more or less that's all. Like if you have shipping details where you would like to deliver the game to, that will also help, especially with a
I
timeline.
will add a little extra. It's how many copies of, if you want, how many copies of a prototype you want for that game as well.
Yes.
The
Yes.
quote. Well, so we cover up the quote thing. I hope this helps designers to make a better connection and actually to save a lot of time because this back and forward when there's nothing clear, it takes sometimes it may take a little bit longer. And for the other side, for the product, for the manufacturing side, also as you said, you get a lot of leads, so it might get everything delayed just because it's not well self-explained on the first initial communication with the factory. So yeah, that's a great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pablo. So it's always best to, once you confirm the quote, once you know, okay, these are the components I'm going to work on, then you ask your project managers, please send me the templates related to my components. They send to you, you put your artwork on it, and then it can move forward. Yeah. So it's important.
Well, okay, I think that we can consider this wrap things up. It's great as always. It's great to talk to you and to share all this. Remember to subscribe to our channels. This podcast is everywhere. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. And remember to subscribe. Each week we will be delivering this. Sides of manufacturing like Hirsch it's doing every week. So really, I really appreciate that you take the time to do this. It's
You're
not
welcome.
common to have the opportunity to talk with the CEO of a manufacturing company, so it's great as always. Well, once again, thank you so much for all the people that hear this, and we will be coming back with new questions in the near future. Thank you, Hirsch.
Excellent. Thank you, Pablo.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. This is Tabletop Game Designer, The Success Formula, a podcast by Hero Time, your board game manufacturing companion. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. And check out our website, herotime1.com. You'll find the article we talked about in this episode, plus a bunch of other cool stuff to help you get your game on everyone's tabletop.